Welcome back to the program, everyone. Let's get to talk our national dailies this morning, and we begin with the Vanguard. We'll just see how we can take some of those papers as we get our guests to join us this morning. NAF strikes, kill terrorists, bandits in Borno, Kwara, Katsina, others, says FCT police. The rider underneath that. Let's see if we can get that for you. It looks really, really tiny. It says FCT police, DSS commends special patrols in places of worship, border areas. 4 nursing mothers abducted in Kanu. Governor Sule orders manhunt after midnight attack in Kena local government area. More riders there. Says no inch of Kebbi under bandits' control. That's from the governor, Governor Idris, and over 100 killed as Boko Haram factions clash with ISWAP in Borno border community with Niger Republic. We see also progressive governors task monarchs to invoke local spiritual powers against insecurity nationwide. I remember a former chief of army staff was quoted as, saying that perhaps we should also get to take the spiritual dimension to tackling insecurity. So this rider reminds me of that. Progressive governors task monarchs to invoke local spiritual powers against insecurity nationwide. So please, all the monarchs, religious leaders and rulers, please consult whatever gods that you serve. But on a more serious note now, there are some interesting dimensions and twists to this particular report, because we see that FCT police, DSS commence special patrols on places of worship as well as border communities. There's also the fact that there was some sort of clash between Boko Haram insurgents and those from ISWAP around the border with Niger Republic, the border community in Borno State with Niger Republic. In fact, let them clash the more. Boko Haram and ISWAP, please fight yourself. What's the other one? Is it Lakurawa? Is that what it's called now? The other group as well. Please, all of you should just be clashing like this. Fight yourselves, you understand? And, achieve total annihilation of each other, such that Nigeria can have peace. Absolutely. These are times that we pray for in the fight against insurgency. So we expect more of those, that kind of fight between insurgents, so that we can eventually have peace restored to this country. Remember when the North was the envy of this country? Remember when people dreamed of traveling to the north? There was a time in this country when, my father used to tell me how he enjoyed just taking his car and driving by road from Lagos to Maiduguri to Sokoto. In fact, he schooled in Kara Namoda. There was a time when it was a thing of adventure, vacation, to, just take a trip. December is coming now. Take a trip by road. People didn't even really care about air travel. They preferred to go or travel by Nigerian roads. And even those who visited Nigeria as well for tourism also enjoyed traveling by road, because they wanted to just see and have a feel of just how natural, how blessed we are as a people, as a country. But now, traveling by road, it's a big prayer point, really. Because there's serious concerns. There's the safety concern. There's even the issues around potholes and all of that. So security concerns and all of that. So we want to see peace return indeed. So now, continue those strikes. Now that you know where they are, please strike them, and strike them beyond this, now that we're feeling the heat of President Donald Trump. Let's get to put an end to this insurgency once and for all. Since 2009 until now, how come it has taken us so long to put an end to insurgency in the country as well? But more riders from the Vanguard as well. If you see right there, the EFCC giving an explainer to why we declared Timipre, Sylva, wanted, just underneath the main rider there. You see why we declared Timipre Sylva wanted. That's coming from the EFCC, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission there speaking. There are more riders as well there, but Bukola.
Indeed. You know, my take would be, if indeed, you know, traditional powers have made any significant, you know, change in the society in the past, of course we would see it. And so more often than not, what we hear, you know, is reports of ritual killings. You know, there are powers as well in technology, which, you know, some would argue is a form of, you know, power deployed for the positive. Yeah. So I doubt that that counsel would lead us anywhere, you know, because it will only cause more problems for Nigeria. We have powers in the manipulation of technology, you know, to help us move forward. And, you know, there's a pact that has already been signed by some ministries to ensure that Nigeria manufactures, you know, weapons here at home, you know, to end the continuous importation of weapons.
Dependence on the international.
Dependence on the international community. There are reports to the effect that we spend a whopping 4 billion naira in the importation of steel and other materials that we require for, you know, the manufacture of weapons. And we have iron ore deposits in abundance here. So traditional powers should make their power. Traditional rulers. Or if you like, you know, the people who are involved in African traditional religion should offer their counsel, you know, to our own technology companies on how to solve Nigeria's problems and not create more problems. Let's go to other papers this morning.
But they can see a lot, because I mean, what if they can just imagine that they can just tell the security agents, you know what, move to this community, we see them right now. Remember some of those Nigerian movies where you can just, in a pot, there's water, you can just see, oh yeah, the military moved to this place, now we can see them there. That's on a lighter note now.
Well, thank you for that cue. I hope we take it. Let's go to Leadership newspaper this morning. Leadership trails on something entirely different, but just as important, that affects you and I. You see there at the top of the big story, alleged 14.8 million naira fraud. Okay, well, let's go to the big story. Marketers blame supply hiccups as cooking gas prices surge yet again. Now, I can tell you about this, Kelly, because just 2 weeks ago, or just early last week, I bought gas for about 17 or 18,000 naira for 12.5 kilograms of gas. Now,
I can tell you about it too, because I have to buy. Right? I have to buy. I will pay for it, so I know about it.
Now, when will this supply challenge be over? That's the question. You know, it goes as far back as early August, when there was that standoff between the unionists and, of course, you know, Dangote, who is also in the leading manufacturer of this particular product. And we had explanations about supply hiccups, you know, being responsible for the increase in price, astronomical increase in price, by the way. But one of the marketers or dealers in the supply of gas assured us that once that supply challenge had been dealt with, then the prices would come down. But the prices have not come down in any way. And you know, this is also to call out those who are, you know, in the business of retailing, because what happened was that I didn't fill my 2 cylinders at once because their gas finished, and then by the time I was going to pick it up the following day, they were going to slam me the updated price. You know, so, and imagine this is going on in many other parts of the country. So this is totally unacceptable if people who are taking advantage of the situation to make inordinate gain. But you know, the supply problem is another conversation that we should be mainstreaming yet again to find out what exactly the problem is. Our local refineries not being supplied with the you know, the natural resource required for the onward processing for cooking gas, which is a very important staple here in the country. Not just for, if you like now, not just for, you know, mothers in the southern part of the country, if you like, in the urban areas, but also increasingly for mothers in the rural areas who require this, not just for domestic use, but even for their petty businesses, that help them to survive as daily income earners, and for the industries as well, who use gas on an industrial scale, huge quantities of gas. We must not get to the point where we begin or continue to import gas, cooking gas, on a huge scale. That's Leadership newspaper this morning. Kelly, you have the next one.
All right, so, well, I understand that our guest has joined us this morning, Mr. Ifetayo, joins us live on the program. Thank you indeed. We had some sort of issues with you connecting earlier, but now that we have you, perhaps we can begin with the leadership, which Bukola has only just given a mention a moment ago. Mr. Adeni Ifetayo, thank you indeed, as always. Let's get your immediate reaction to the Leadership newspaper, please. The story there where marketers are putting the blame supply hiccups as cooking gas prices surge again. Mr. Ifetayo, because we are already close to December, when we always see a general hike in prices of goods and services. I wonder how you think Nigerians can cope with this hike.
Yeah, I just hope that they don't make cooking gas a commodity that only the rich can afford. And I think government need to step in, whatever the hiccups, whatever the challenges, whatever things they can do to get it off the way. Because, just maybe 10 years ago or thereabout, masses, they are so dependent on kerosene until it became unreachable, or the price. We're talking about the price as something that makes a lot of people shy away from it. Then come cooking gas that make life easier, but now the market are blaming supply hiccup on cooking gas. Just like you said, December is coming, and it's going to be in high demand, and I think government should do something to look into it, remove whatever hiccups. If they're going to approve some kind of subsidy, approve some kind of truck to supply, or reduce the cost of getting it from point A to point B, so that it can be affordable and it will not turn to another thing when, just like it's obtainable in the past, where we'll be looking for fuel to run our car for people that want to travel for festive period. But I think they can nip it in the bud while they are still much available now. They should do something about it. It's not now we should be talking about gas price surge again.
And earlier on, I had taken the Vanguard newspaper as well. Perhaps we can switch to that, where we reported that the security NAV strikes kill terrorists, bandits in Borno, Kwara, Katsina, others. NAV strikes kill terrorists, bandits in Borno, Kwara, Katsina, others. Mr. Ifetayo, well, all of a sudden we see a different body language from the security chiefs. Well, they are new, but a different body language across board, from the presidency to the security chiefs. I'm sure there's some sort of Trump effect here. Is that correct?
Yes, very correct. Because sometimes they just do it with I don't care attitude, or the guy at the top has not given us instruction. But when you know that your job is on the line, I think you want to sit up, and it's a good one for us. I told someone, about 3 days ago, that it's like Nigeria, God is answering Nigeria's prayer. I think you mentioned something on that line. Whatever it is they are doing now, they should keep it up, so that we need the result. We want, because even if you want to, the Westerner, the European Union, the African Union, they might want to condemn whatever America is coming to Nigeria to do, but they are not coming to help us. We need to get the job done, unless if they don't want to. And another thing I think Mr. President should also do, that I don't know, because it's not every information we are privy to or it's for public consumption, that your job is on the line. If you cannot deliver, if you cannot do this job in the next 2-3 months, just get out of the way, and giving them the kind of support they will need defense is something that you don't want to toy with, because if you cannot secure your border, investor will lose confidence, in your country, and it will also affect foreign direct investment. Whatever it is they are doing now, they should not rest on their oar. They should keep it up and wipe them away. At least let's have even if it's 99.9%, so that we can enjoy peace in Nigeria.
Well, you could say that again, Mr. Adeni, and you would not be wrong, particularly because there are more concerns that even terrorism, banditry, and kidnapping is fueled also by the mining of minerals in some parts of the country, which is also sponsored by certain investors in Nigeria. At this point, would rather not name names of those nationals, but just a direction also to the security agents to look into that bit of the narrative that is reportedly fueling banditry and kidnapping, particularly in Nigeria's northwest. But let's head over to the Guardian newspaper, which is focusing on something equally important this morning. Take a look at this. 33 years later, hope dims for safer pipeline supplies of Jet A1 to airports. And the writers give you a sense of the direction of the reportage. Operations across Nigeria's airports have remained hampered by outdated infrastructure and sub-industry standards. On average, about 20 foreign airlines lift roughly 20,000 liters each for return flights, all trucked in through the city's already congested roads, whereas restoring the pipeline could remove up to 100 trucks daily from Lagos roads, reducing traffic congestion, accidents, and fuel logistics costs. It appears as if the Guardian newspaper is echoing what seems to be a very huge sentiment on this truth table of the morning brief. Mr. Ifeta, we talk about this time and again, particularly because of the number of accidents that we record on our roads. I'd like you to speak to this.
Yes, in fact, another thing that we are not looking at is because of this truck, and is the passenger who are traveling. You buy a ticket now, a minimum ticket from Lagos to Abuja at least costs about 180,000, 200,000, and it's because all these overhead costs are borne by the passengers, and not just only the truck, like you said, that if pipelines are being laid correctly, supplying the Jet A1 food to the airport directly to remove almost 100 trucks from our road, who was already congested. Yesterday, coming to the island alone, I spent almost 3 hours, coming to the island from mainland. So those are the things they should look into. And I think that sometimes some of our governments, or who are saddled with the responsibility, as long as it's not affecting them, because when they are coming with convoy, the police clearing the way and all of that, we are not praying that we are not saying that they should involve in a kind of accident, whether major or minor, but as long as it's not affecting them, they just look away. But these are the critical sector that can snowball to, reducing of time wasted on the road congestion. And of course, it will also create a job as well, but risking everything, putting them on the road. And 33 years later, we still don't have a pipeline that supplies the A1 to the airport. It's very alarming. And I think if the government wants to be serious about its aviation sector, this is one of the critical areas that it should look into and do it once and for all. And Nigeria will never forget.
Well, Mr. Professor, let's switch gears to the New Telegraph here. It leads with this rider: Trump's threat, U.S. may alter West Africa's security landscape. That's coming from an ex-DSS director. Says aid stoppage represents severe diplomatic ties, downgrade Boko Haram, ISWA banditry, existential threats to sovereignty. And then says Trump, okay, well, that's a different story. But perhaps we could just touch on this as briefly as we can. Trump's threat, U.S. may alter West Africa's security landscape. I know that people refer to the U.S. as the world power, and so whoever becomes president of the U.S., you know, carries himself as the president of the world. But I mean, why is the continent so, maybe I should use the word weak, such that it will take a president of another country from another continent to come determine just how our landscape security-wise should be? I mean, my colleague earlier was just mentioned the issues around the stories we hear about the scramble for Africa.
Yes, you know, they say sometimes if you don't put your house in order, it's your neighbor that will be telling you how to rule your own house. I think African, we are more on the line of we are divided ourselves than coming together and solving our problem. You know, regardless whatever aid we have been enjoying, you know, they said the hands of a giver is always on top. It's the one that will dictate. You know, been going to all these foreign power to ask for aid, debt forgiveness, etc., etc. But I think it's high time we should look inward so that 54 nations, you know, one continent coming together, because somebody said to move a cargo from US per ton, I think from US to an African country might take you about I think $40, but within African continent you spend as high as $120, you know, maybe per ton, the way they measure it. So we are much divided and big in this. We are not collaborating. I attended a conference, a summit in Botswana just a few days ago, and they were saying that African is between, I think, between 12% to 18% regional trade that happen within Africa. That means over 80% we do more business with other continents than within ourselves. So that leaves a lot of crack in the wall that they might want to determine our security architecture or the continent architecture or West Africa architecture. But when we come together, pull our resources together, pull our technology together, our manpower together, we can solve our problem. Use our challenges. You know, when we are looking for foreign forces, or yes, there can be a form of collaboration. But if you don't sit down very well, they will come for your head. So I think AU, they should come together and say, we are having these challenges. What can we do to tackle it once and for all? So because it's happening in your it's happening in your neighbor, you now say, no, it does not concern me. No, let's come together, work together, so that foreign forces or foreign element or the world power will not dictate what goes on within our border.
Maybe a yes or no question. Do you think that we should get help from the US?
No, it's our problem, and I think we can solve it.
All right. Well,
because they have interest. If they come for you, they have interest.
Okay.
Forget about what they are doing. Yes, sir.
Thank you indeed, as always. Mr. Adeni Fetayo is a public affairs analyst. Thank you indeed for doing this with us, as always. Thank you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
You're watching The Morning Brief. Let's take a breather, everyone. When we come back, we get to head to our very first conversation, and it has to do with the countdown to the 15% petrol import tariff, which takes effect on November 21st. Brace up, Nigerians, because there are perhaps consequences. We're back in just a moment. Please stay with us.